Introduction. HACCP is a management system in which food safety is addressed to the analysis and control of biological, chemical, and physical hazard from raw material production, procurement, and handling to manufacturing, distribution, and consumption of the finishing product. For successful implement of a HACCP plan, management must be strong, committed to the HACCP concept. A friend committed to HACCP by top management provide company employee with a sense of the importance of a product, safe food. First, conduct a hazardous analysis. The purpose of a hazardous analysis is to develop a list of hazards which are likely to cause injury or illness if they are not controlled. Points to be considered in the analysis can include skill level of employee, transport of food, saving elderly, sick, very young children, immunity complications, value cooling, tubing of potential hazardous food, high degree of food handling, and contact accuracy of preparation and holding equipment, allowable storage, and method of preparation. The next step is to determine if the factor may influence the likely occurrence and severely or the hazard being controlled. Finally, the hazard association, which each step in the flow of the food should be listed along with the measurement necessary to control the hazard. Second, determine critical control points. A critical control point is any step in which hazards can be prevented, eliminated, or reduced to acceptable levels. CCPs are usually produced which, when not done correctly, are the leading cause of foodborne illness outbreaking. Examples of critical control points include cooking, cooling, reheating. Third, establish critical limits. A critical limits ensure that a biological, chemical, or physical hazard is controlled by CCP. Each CCP should have at least one critical limit. Critical limits must be something that can be monitored by measurement or observation. They must be scientifically and or regularly based. Example, including temperature, time, pH, water activities, or allowable chlorine.
The fourth step is about established monitoring procedures. Monitoring is a plan which includes observations or measurements to assess whether the CCP is being met. It provides a record of the flow of food through the establishment. If monitoring indicates that the critical limits are not being met, then an action must be taken to bring the process back into control. The monitoring system should be easy to use and meet the needs of the food establishment as well as the regulatory authority. It is important that the job of monitoring be assigned to a specific individual and they be trained on the monitoring technique. Step 5 is about establish corrective actions. If the criteria of CCP is not being met, some type of corrective action must be taken. They must meet the standards established in Step 3 must be based on facts for normal working conditions and be measurable. Corrective actions may range, for example, from continue cooking until the established temperature is reached to throw out the product, depending on the severity of the situation. The sixth step is about establish verification procedures. These procedures are activities other than monitoring that determine the validity of the HACCP plan and that the system is operating according to the plan. An important aspect of verification is not to determine if the plan is scientifically and technically sound, also that all the hazards have been identified and that if the HACCP plan is properly implemented, these hazards can be effectively controlled. Verification can be accomplished by expert advice and scientific studies and observations of the flow of the food, measurements and evaluations. Another means of verification is an one-side review of the established critical limits. Each CCP will have one independent authority. This verification step provides an opportunity to make modifications to the plan if necessary. Final step is about establish record keeping and documentation procedures. Record keeping and documentation procedures should be simple to complete and include information that illustrates that the established standards are being met. Employees need to be trained on the record keeping procedures and why it is a critical part of their job. Examples of records include time or temperature, logs, checklists, forms, flow charts, employee training records, and SOP.
HACCP. Why is it important for food workers? HACCP, also known as Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, is a preventative system designed to increase food safety. HACCP guidelines protect food from biological, chemical, and physical hazards as well as radioactivity. HACCP seeks to identify and then prevent hazards in food. Hazards may include foreign bodies such as nails, chemicals, or allergens making their way into the food. Storing foods in undesirable temperatures may also trigger hazardous pathogen growth. HACCP is enforced using 12 steps and 7 principles. The 7 principles are as follows. 1. A hazard analysis is performed in which all potential hazards are identified. 2. Critical control points are determined and preventative measures to prevent these from being exceeded are identified. 3. Critical limits for hazards are set. These limits are established by the company through a logical risk analysis. 4. Critical control points are monitored. The method for doing so must be recorded. 5. If a critical limit is exceeded, corrective actions must be taken to identify and solve the problem to ensure it does not happen again. 6. At this point, the HACCP plan must be verified and revised for improvements. Is the plan modernized? Does it ensure the safety of food? And finally, all HACCP measures must be documented and recorded so health inspectors or auditors can easily access them. Within the EU, HACCP was established in 2004 and has been mandatory since 2006 according to the following regulation. This regulation states that every food company must develop its own control system that implements the aforementioned 12 steps and 7 principles. At the Tentimus Group, we understand that implementing a HACCP system can be difficult. This is why we establish HACCP concepts for your business and continue to optimize them going forward. This is done to ensure that critical limits are exceeded as rarely as possible to avoid product recalls and trouble with the law. Do you wish to learn more about our HACCP assistance? Get in touch! Just send an email to the following address and we will be happy to help you.
HACCP? What's that?
HACCP is the standard originally created for Cosmo food production developed by NASA. It's quite important, especially in regard to the meat and food industries. It guarantees the safety of food.
Wow, I am surprised that there is so much knowledge involved in producing a box of meat. Dr. Bull, I'm all ears.
Okay, I'll first tell you about HACCP. HACCP represents a highly hygienic management system developed in the United States. It stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point. In other words, it's a hygienic management system for producing food. HACCP assures the consumer that food safety won't be jeopardized by anyone or any conditions during food production.
Huh, okay, I get it. In that case, what are the features?
Here are the 5 main features of HACCP. 1. It oversees all hazardous points and centralizes operations. 2. It offers an integrated certification system for the food industry. 3. It also strengthens the scientific administration and supervision of food production. 4. It lets us quickly confirm and handle any accidents. 5. And it constantly works to upgrade and update management rules and regulations to cover every possible condition.
But how does HACCP work?
Actually, HACCP doesn't have one standard procedure or set of hazardous points for all products. It depends on the product itself, the production method, and the work environment. First, let's look at U.S. meat to see how HACCP works. Holding area. 1. The U.S. Food Safety and Inspection Service officers examine all livestock. 2. Clean, dry, and scale. Slaughter. Phase 1. 1. Clean and sterilize all facilities and equipment before slaughter. 2. Clean and sterilize hands and all cutting tools after every slaughter. 3. Inspect internal organs, brain, and lymph nodes from every carcass. Slaughter. Phase 2. 1. Clean carcasses with hot water. 2. Sterilize carcasses with organic acid. Chilling. 1. Freeze carcasses at extremely low temperatures to prevent the growth of microorganisms. 2. Inspection for microorganisms. Fabrication. Clean and sterilize all facilities and equipment before cutting. Packaging. 1. Keep product in a vacuum-packed state. 2. Maintain low temperature freezing of product from factory to retail outlet. Export. Maintain a minus 1.2 degrees Celsius temperature for the meat from factory to Taiwan.
Wow! HACCP really does have high standards for food safety and quality.
That's right.